Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Conversations with Taz. Thank you for joining me tonight for Freeform Fridays. Tonight we're gonna mix it up a little bit. Yes, we will have our regular degular schmegula blind reacts, but in the midst of all of that, there will be a few articles, a few updates to give, and things like that. And a few other nuggets that were sent. Um, And given that it's the month of May, I think this first one is very, very appropriate. Coming from Newsbreak, U.S. Navy names destroyer after Filipino Medal of Honor recipient. The U.S. Navy is honoring its only Filipino to be awarded the Medal of Honor, America's highest decoration for military valor, by naming a new warship after him. A future Arleigh Burke class middle class guided missile destroyer will be named USS Telesforo Trinidad after Fireman Second Class Telesforo de la Cruz Trinidad. Congratulations. That's what we love to hear. Get some representation everywhere for everybody. Let's jump into our first video. Let's go.
How many people realize that 6 of the 10 Buffalo terror victims were born during the Jim Crow white supremacist era and died at the hands of a white supremacist now? The GOP wants to pretend it was so long ago, but it's here and now, and denying the reality of racism only makes it worse.
Well, no lies detected there. Um, a lot of American history is misconstrued because people don't really associate things that happen simultaneously with them happening simultaneously. That is why, just to let you all know, as a reminder, Learning Through Black Literature will resume next Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, because during the time of Jim Crow and the Civil Rights era, those pictures are put in black and white, but the posters and the advertisements for The Wizard of Oz are in color. They do that for a reason, to make it seem further back in time than what it actually is. Intentionally. So let's see. Coming from AOL.com. New clue about why COVID is deadlier for men. Estrogen may play a protective role. Yet another reason I'm so happy I'm a woman. It's one of the pandemic's prolonged mysteries. Why have men died of COVID at higher rates than women? COVID's fatality rate for men is 1.7 times higher on average than the rate for women across 38 countries, a 2020 study found. More recent research from Harvard University scientists found that although men represented 49% of COVID cases in the United States, they accounted for 55% of COVID deaths from April 2020 through May 2021. This week, a study lent further support to a leading theory about the discrepancy. Estrogen may offer some protection against severe COVID. For the study published in the journal Family Practice UK, researchers compared women in England who had received hormone replacement therapy, which helps restore estrogen levels during menopause, within 6 months of a COVID diagnosis, to those who did not. The results showed that the first group had a 78% lower mortality rate from all causes of death than the second group. In total, the study involved more than 5,400 women, most of whom were white and of menopausal age, around 59 on average. Can we stop just. Now, that's really where we need greater representation. We need greater representation in medical and scientific research. Because what does that say about me as a black woman? What will that say for an Asian woman? What will that say for an indigenous woman? I digress, I digress, I digress. The researchers controlled for socioeconomic status and pre-existing health problems. This is at this is adding to the body of evidence of why, particularly early in the pandemic, we were seeing really different clinical outcomes for women relative to men, said Anita Raj, a professor of infectious diseases and global public health at the University of California, San Diego, who was not involved in research. Although the relative homogeneity of the study is a limitation, she added, its conclusions still seem to be aligned with the notion that it's estrogen specifically that's producing the protective effect. Oh. once again, women are just built to built to live longer, it seems. Um oh, and here's something that was submitted, said it was spotted on Facebook. Student, I don't understand why my grade was so low. How did I do on my research paper? Teacher, actually you didn't turn in a research paper. You turned in a random assemblage of sentences. In fact, the sentences you apparently kidnapped in the dead of night and forced into this violent and arbitrary plan of yours clearly seem to be placed on pages against their will. Reading your paper was like watching unfamiliar, uncomfortable people interacting at a cocktail party that no one wanted to attend in the first place. You did not submit a research paper, you submitted a hostage situation. Oh, that me as a teacher. Me as a teacher right there. Wow. Tell them how you really feel, Teach. Tell them how you really Jesus. Oh my goodness. Hmm. Uh, let's see. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Here we go. What's this one? Okay. No. Let's go to the next video.
TikTok beef of the week. This one, I really want y'all to do wet and blind react to. Like, literally. Like, please. I need you to. Okay? Okay.
Have you ever been fucked by a country boy rammed by a redneck spread by an inbred who's kinda got your daddy's voice? If you've never been licked by a dick with
So, Ray.
Was I old enough for that song? Emotional damage. Emotional damage. That's what the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, moving right along. Coming from Newsbreak. Suspect in Dave Chappelle incident facing charges of attempted murder in separate case. Hey. Instead of collecting wrecks on wrecks on wrecks, he seems to be collecting charges on charges on charges. That is not living your best life, my boy. A man who allegedly attacked comedian Dave Chappelle at the beginning of May has been charged in a separate case for attempted murder of his roommate. Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gasson said on Thursday that Isaiah Lee is facing one count of attempted murder. The charges related to an alleged stabbing of his roommate in December, months before his alleged assault on Chappelle. The office says the incident occurred on December 2nd when a fight broke out at a transitional housing apartment. A person who previously reported the incident said the media reports regarding Chappelle's case helped them identify Lee for this case. The publicity generated by the attack on Mr. Chappelle helped police solve this crime, Gasson said. The incident that occurred at the Hollywood Bowl was misdemeanor conduct and rightfully referred to the city attorney's office. Based on the nature and severity of the December attack, Mr. Lee is now facing felony charges, which my office will prosecute. Lee pleaded not guilty to the attempted murder charge and will appear before a judge on June 2nd. The incident preceded Lee allegedly tackling Chappelle on stage at the Hollywood Bowl while the comedian was performing. Lee was holding a replica gun that could eject a blade. Damn. Do you want? Do you and Chappelle have personal beef? I mean, I know he could say some wild stuff, but ooh, that is personal, personal. Like, what is with you and the stabby, stabby, grabby, grabby, dude? Mm-mm. Lee was charged with assault with a deadly weapon over the incident. Sheesh, sheesh, Louise. Go on. Mm. That's what we doing now. I guess that's what we doing now. Alrighty, let's go to the next one.
First, we have Rick Scott not understanding that this is because of President Trump. The reason we can't get formula from Canada is because of President Trump. While at the same time, the House voted 414 to 9 in favor of a bill ensuring access to baby formula for people that get WIC benefits. All 9 votes that were no were Republican. Boebert, Gates, Gohmert, Gosar, Macy, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. You can't tell me those 9 found something in that bill that all the other Republicans didn't find as the reason they voted against it. No, I have a feeling it's because it would help people in low-income situations. It would help those that have children and need help with said children. Fucking pro-life, my ass.
Speaking of formula, if you know someone that is being affected by the formula shortage, on last night's episode, there is a recipe, the old carnation milk recipe, uh, that will work perfectly fine to provide nutrients and sustenance for children. Um, there is an article about formula, and since that video popped up, I'm going to read it. This is coming from Business Insider. First batch of infant formula headed to United States from Switzerland. The first batch of baby formula is being imported to the U.S. from Switzerland as part of President Joe Biden's Operation Fly Formula, which was launched to address the ongoing national shortage. The White House on Thursday announced a batch of Nestle SA formula would be transported from Zurich, Switzerland to Plainfield, Indiana by commercial aircrafts contracted by the Department of Defense. Hypoallergenic formulas intended for babies with dairy milk allergies are being prioritized because they serve critical medical purpose and are in short supply in the United States because of the Abbott Sturgis plant closure, the statement says. Operation Fly Formula was announced Wednesday and allows the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Agriculture to use military resources to pick up baby formula from overseas. The operation is part of a series of measures taken by the Biden administration to address the infant formula shortage, as empty shelves have left parents across America scrambling to find food for their babies. Insiders Anna Medeiros reported Wednesday excuse me, that an emergency room in Texas had been treating babies whose parents fed them homemade or watered down formula, putting the infants at risk for life-threatening seizures. So yeah. Let's go to the next video.
The Fox News psychopaths are at it again.
Why is the southern border open? Why is it open like this? What is their purpose? Obviously, to import as many Democrats as they possibly can.
So just days after the Buffalo shooting, where in his manifesto he cited Fox News' great replacement theory as an incentive, Mark Levin here decides, yeah, let's double down on that theory that Democrats are somehow replacing white conservatives with brown Democrats from across the border. Where is the duty of care to the public? This type of mentality and this type of rhetoric is a danger to the public. And Mark Levin is a private confidant of Donald Trump, wrote speeches for Donald Trump. This is the kind of rhetoric that's going to be part of 2022 and 2024. Fox News is a danger to the public. It must be removed from the airwaves. How many have to die before people wake up?
He's absolutely right. And now, what people generally know is that Fox News was started by Rupert Murdoch and what's Ailes' first name? Roger Ailes. About 1996. But a lot of people don't realize this was technically the brainchild of Ronald Reagan. He wanted kind of a state run news organization. And since that's non constitutional within the United States, they just decided to be partisan and lean towards, heavily towards, the right. They are listed as entertainment and not actual news. And they have celebrity commentators and not anchors or journalists. I mean, how many times has Tucker Carlson admitted that there are times he just lies? And speaking of, wait a minute, thought someone had sent something about old Tucker. Hold on. Let's see. So, coming from politifact.com, Tucker Carlson feigned ignorance over great replacement theory despite talking about it often. Peyton Gendron, who cited the racist great replacement theory prior to being arrested on charges related to the May 14th fatal shooting at a Buffalo, New York supermarket, is led into the courtroom for a hearing at Erie County Court May 19th, 2022. Fox News host Tucker Carlson falsely claimed he was unfamiliar with the racist and anti-Semitic great replacement theory cited by the mass shooter in Buffalo, New York. You heard a lot about the great replacement theory recently, Carlson said on his primetime show May 17th. It is everywhere in the last 2 days, and we are still not exactly sure what it is. Carlson's critics and viewers would have been right to think twice about his feigned ignorance. Carlson has promoted the core principles behind great replacement theories hundreds of times, including on his May 17th program. The Democratic Party has decided that rather than convince you people who were born here and their policies are helping you, making the country better and stronger, they will change the electorate, Carlson said, minutes after saying he wasn't sure what the theory meant. True Republifuck. Other times he referenced the theory by its name. The Great Replacement Theory is white supremacist rhetoric that warns of an elaborate conspiracy by the Democratic and Western elites and possibly orchestrated by Jewish people to systematically replace white Americans with non-white people through immigration, interracial marriage, and other means. Online writings linked to the gunman showed he was motivated by a belief that the white race was dying out like several other mass shooters before him. The version of the Great Replacement Theory on Carlson's show has not been as extreme as the more violent forms that exist on fringe forums like 4chan. The Fox News host has repeatedly denounced violence, and there has been no sign the Buffalo shooter watched his show. Fox News was directly quoted in that manifesto, but cute try. But Carlson has routinely invoked the ideas at the center of the theory, warning the Democrats, including President Joe Biden, have weaponized immigration as a political tool to strengthen their voting bloc, weaken the power of white people, and seize permanent government control. The New York Times reported that Carlson has amplified the idea that Democratic politicians and others want to force demographic change through immigration in more than 400 episodes of the show. Tucker Carlson today, totaling over 50 hours devoted to that theme. His May 17th show added to the total, even if Carlson pretended not to see it that way. Mr. Carlson is the highest transmitter of the very replacement theory bigotry he feigns not knowing, said Brian Levin, the director of the Center for Study of Hate and Extremism at California State University, San Bernardino. Fox News did not respond to a request for comment. Do they ever? I mean, they already went to court and said that no sensible person, nobody with good sense would believe anything they say on there, but I digress. Let's go to the next video.
But apparently there's no shortage of baby formula for illegal aliens.
So not even going into the fact that you're so pro-life and thinking that immigrant children deserve to starve to death, let's go ahead and look at these packages, huh? You see that formula? Nido? I just looked it up at Kroger. This exact same product is for toddlers at least 1 year of age. It is not formula. It is not recommended for anybody under the age of 1 because infants don't even have the ability to digest that milk product. Instead of complaining that these babies are getting fed, we should be talking about the real problem, that infants are getting fed milk that will kill them at the border because of a milk shortage. All at the exact time that you are about to force anybody with a uterus to conceive a child, when we don't have enough milk to feed the babies who are already here. Maybe let's talk about that, you evil motherfucker!
She's absolutely right. And as much as parents, specifically mothers, are demonized for either having one child and not wanting more, having multiple child and people feeling like they have too many, needing to lean on government resources or community resources because employers don't want to do right by their employees, they just want to do right by their own pockets, you can't win. The United States is being forced into increasing its population because white men are afraid they're going to become the minority while trying to tell us that there's nothing wrong with being a minority. Everybody is treated right. But also in current news, because, one pandemic doesn't seem to be enough. No, not for 2022. Coming from newsbreak.com, possible NYC monkeypox case under investigation. Canada confirms first ever infections. Health officials in New York City said they are investigating a possible monkeypox infection excuse me, as Canada confirms its first ever cases of the disease. The New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene said in a brief statement Thursday that the patient was being cared for at Bellevue Hospital. Our public health lab will conduct preliminary tests, which, if positive, will be sent to the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for confirmatory testing, it said. The announcement comes days after a Massachusetts man who recently visited Canada's Quebec province was confirmed as the United States' first case of the virus for the year. The Public Health Agency of Canada has launched an investigation to identify contacts of the U.S. patient and said in a statement that it confirmed Thursday night 2 monkeypox cases in the province, the first to be confirmed in the country. The province's Ministry of Health and Social Services said that it has about 20 potential cases under investigation. And I was looking just a little bit into monkeypox because I'm like, okay, with my luck and my immune system, like I may never leave the house again. But it is a double-stranded DNA zoonotic virus that causes monkeypox in humans and other animals. It belongs to genus Orthopoxvirus in the family of Poxviridae. I hope I'm saying that right. It is one of the human orthopoxviruses that includes variola, cowpox, and vaccinia viruses. It is not a direct ancestor to nor direct descendant of the variola virus, which causes smallpox. Monkeypox disease is similar to smallpox, but with milder rash and lower mortality rate. This does not sound like a good time. As far as transmission, the virus can spread from both animal to human and from human to human. Infection from animal to human can occur via an animal bite or by direct contact with an infected animal's bodily fluids. Wait a damn minute. We get monkeypox after all these white folks proclaimed their undying sexual attraction to animals, aka bestiality. Don't tell me we got Christopher Columbus 2.0 going on right now. They done tried to colonize and gentrify Tupac. Keep your head up. Talking about they want to bang animals. And now we. Let's just go to the next video. Let's.
Y'all, what the fuck did I just watch?
Human persons from their earliest days, poisoned in the womb and dismembered, torn limb from limb. Bodies thrown in medical waste bins and in places like Washington, D.C., burned to power the lights of the city's homes and streets. Let that image sink in with you for a moment. The next time you turn on the light, think of the incinerators. Think of what we're doing to ourselves so callously and so numbly.
I mean, I know that's Catherine Glenn Foster, the CEO and president of Americans United for Life, right? And it sounds like she's saying that Washington, D.C. electricity is run on aborted fetuses? What the fuck?
Just say you don't understand how electricity is produced, how it's conducted, how it works. You just. This is giving. I was raised by an evangelical Christian. I was homeschooled with the evangelical books. Like, wow. And I'm not saying that to be facetious. I'm not saying that to condemn someone's practices. Look up their curriculum. They literally said that there's no way to understand electricity, that you can't see it, you can't feel it. You're not quite sure that it exists. Who, child? You know what? This let's run this.
I'm a little
nonsense.
optimistic. If you
It looks like you lost another one.
Whew, okay. Let's jump back into it. Hold on. Okay. What other stuff have y'all sent? Da, 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 da. Okay. We got a couple updates real quick. Excuse me. Coming from CBSNews.com, House passes bill to crack down on alleged gas price gouging. The House of Representatives passed a bill along party lines Thursday that seeks to lower gas prices by cracking down on alleged price gouging by energy companies. The House vote was 217 to 207. No Republicans supported the bill, suggesting it's likely headed for failure in the Senate. And the reason why no one from the GOP is going to vote for this is because they want to continue to run with the narrative that Biden is to blame for increased gas prices because, they love the uneducated. They love the willfully ignorant. And they want to win these primaries, and they also want to win in November. What better way to do it than drain everybody's pockets, outrage them, and then go, we can fix this next year. We could do this for you. They're not going to. They can't. This is how they could have fixed it. Stop voting against your own best interest. Like, please. The other one. From abcnews.go.com. Ex-deputy gets 18 years after detainees drown in locked van. A deputy in South Carolina whose police van was swept away by floodwaters in the aftermath of Hurricane Florence, drowning two women seeking mental health treatment trapped in a cage in the back, was sentenced Thursday to 18 years in prison. A Marion County jury found former Horry County Deputy Stephen Flood guilty of 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter and 2 counts of reckless homicide. How ironic that his last name is Flood. Judges ordered Wendy Newton, 45, and Nicolette Green, 43, to be involuntarily committed the day they died in September 2018, but their family said they were not violent. Newton was only seeking medicine for her fear and anxiety, and Green's family said she was committed to a mental facility at a regular mental health appointment by a counselor she had never seen before. Flood, 69, was sentenced why was he still working as a cop at 69? Anyway, about 30 minutes after the verdict, and after several relatives of the women said his decision to press forward with the shortest route left an impossible to fix hole in their lives. This was a deliberate act in motion by a pompous, stubborn man. Well, I can't say you wrong there. Green's sister, Donella Green Johnson, told the judge, he abused the trust my sister, Nikki, Wendy, and the state of South Carolina entrusted him with. And for what? To save time? Circuit Court Judge William Sills sentenced Flood to 5 years in prison on each involuntary manslaughter charge and 4 years on each reckless homicide charge, and ordered the sentences served back to back. Okay, all right. We getting there little by little. Hey, lovelies. And let's see. Is there another? I hate that it does this. Boop. And from fox2detroit.com. Here's one I haven't updated you on a while, so shout out to the person that sent this to me. Ethan Crumbley hoped Oxford school shooting would lead to President Biden's impeachment, defense says. I know that the defense is trying to get his journal added into evidence, but his parents' attorneys are fighting against that. Parents of the year right there. It's been nearly 6 months since 4 students inside of Oxford High School were murdered, and we're still more than 4 months away from the first trial linked to the shooting. But court motions filed by the parents of the accused shooter have shed light on some of the possible motive. Based on fears that information about their son and their own lifestyles would unfairly sway a jury in the coming trial of James and Jennifer Crumbley. Yeah, way to look out for your son. I mean, you didn't do it before, so I guess shouldn't be surprised that you're doing it now. Lawyers represented the parents filed a bevy of motions this week in hopes of tossing information that the Oakland County prosecutor had presented in court. From journal entries and text messages authored by Ethan Crumbley to lifestyle habits that both Crumbley parents engaged in before the mass shooting at Oxford High School, the defense team believes the details do not have relevance to the case and would lead to further problems during the trial. He, Ethan Crumbley, clearly anticipated that investigators would read his journal and explains the purpose behind his writings, reads a brief filed by attorney Shannon Smith and Marielle Lehman. So they're trying to convince us that Ethan Crumley hates his parents and the world so much that he was just like, you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to set my parents up for it. No, the parents were just shitty parents. Ethan also expressed a desire that his actions be so big, excuse me, so big that sleepy fucking Joe Biden will have to sleazy make an apology to people, the journal reads. Hopefully my shooting will cause Biden to get impeached. Now that I believe a teenager wrote. Now somebody writing that doesn't even understand well, there are adults that don't understand what constitutes an impeachment, but you really think he's trying to set it? Let's keep going. In the motion, the attorneys argued that attitudes around political leaders, including President Biden and former President Donald Trump, have been more and more polarized. The motion states that the term Sleepy Joe Biden is directly associated with Trump, who referred to his opponent in the 2020 election as such. However, regardless of the political leanings of any of the Crumleys, James and Jennifer's attorney argues that should not be used against them in court. Mr. and Mrs. Crumley should not be found guilty or not guilty depending on the attitudes of the jurors about President Biden and Trump. They won't be, but they do need to know what you're thinking about. And did you perpetuate hate in your home? The motion said. Well, that was my commentary. The political beliefs of Mr. and Mrs. Crumley are not the proximate cause of anything, or else every politician who ever spoke against President Biden would share responsibility for the Biden attitudes of EC Ethan Crumley, and thus be proximate cause of the killings. No, they weren't influential in guiding him. And one thing that I did see earlier today, Ethan wrote out his plan in this journal, and he had a problem with pretty girls. So I guess whatever girl he was crushing on, he was pissed that she wasn't crushing on him back. And one of his biggest rules was the first person he was to shoot was to be a pretty girl. Ain't that about a blippity blip blip? So let's see. Okay. Let's go to the next video.
It looks like we all need to get together and have a good laugh on social media, just like Greg Foster. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll, and then I want you to stay to the end so we can laugh some more at the end of this video.
Boyfriend won't stop telling me I have body odor. I have been with my boyfriend for over a year and everything has been great except for one thing. Every single day, at least once, he will tell me that I stink and smell of body odor. When we met, I showered every day, applied regular deodorant in the morning, brushed my teeth 3 times a day. Now I am so paranoid about smelling bad that I shower at least twice a day. I apply new industrial strength deodorant every few hours. I have a reminder on my phone, perfume, and I brush my teeth anytime I eat or drink something that isn't water. I feel like I'm going crazy. I didn't think I smelled bad in the beginning and I don't think I smell bad now. But I obviously smell bad to him, right? I'm that weirdo that keeps sneakily smelling their own armpits. I have been to the doctor and he has said there is nothing medically wrong. It has honestly gotten to the point where I literally shove my armpit in friends' and family's faces asking if I smell bad. They all say I don't smell like BO at all. One friend even said I smelled too clean, like a Lush store. I'm getting so paranoid. He won't cuddle or anything when he says I smell. I really don't know what more I can do. Update. So unexpected edit. I waited for him to make a comment this morning so I could talk to him. It was less than an hour after waking up that he said, "God, you stink." I had already showered and put on deodorant. I snapped and asked what exactly was he smelling because, at this point I'm one of the cleanest people on the planet and if I still smell bad to him, then we should just break up. He got all panicked and upset. I eventually got out of him that this is what his father always said to his mother. Apparently his father told him that it was a surefire technique to have a woman never leave you because she will feel too low to cheat, will love only you, and will always be clean. Needless to say, his father is wrong. He's packing his things and moving out of my house today.
What in the low self-esteem, I don't want to put any energy or effort into a relationship is that bullshit. So you mess with this woman's mental health, her money, because you just increased her daily routine just to control her, to keep. And daddy is a psychopath, a freaking psychopath. And I feel sorry if mama ain't never confronted daddy about this behavior, because nah, I'm sorry. I don't condone domestic violence, but I'd have two-pieced his ass. Don't do that to people. Put the energy and effort into your relationship. Don't make up things to try to control somebody, because if they are meant for you, they will be meant for you. They will be faithful. They will be there. If they are not, then let them go. But trying to force somebody, especially with that type of anguish, and to sit back and watch them go through that, knowing that you're tormenting them, yeah, that gives micro penis energy right there. Don't agree? Go argue with your daddies.
I'm a little optimistic. A few days after the Buffalo mass shooting, Congress passes a domestic terrorist bill. Now, although the bill passed, it passed via party line with only one Republican siding with the Democrats, Adam Kinzinger. At the same time last year, Congress passed the anti-Asian hate crime bill. Now, when the anti-Asian bill passed the House, only 62 Republicans voted against it. Great bipartisan support. When it passed the Senate, only one Republican voted against it. And the George Floyd bill that barely passed the House that's now still sitting in the Senate. What does all this have in common, guys? If you're Black watching this, you probably noticed a pattern that shows that Black lives are less valued than others, and that is true. But this is where voting kicks in. Midterm elections are coming up, November 8th. You'll be able to vote for people who has your best interests and send them to Washington, D.C. When you send them to Washington, D.C., bills like the George Floyd bill would not be stalled. We wouldn't worry if the domestic terrorist bill would be passed. We wouldn't have to worry about that because we would have enough people to represent us. And once those bills are passed, it goes to the president, who do not make laws. He signed them. He signs those bills. And that's when we start seeing change. That anti-Asian bill, for example, he had every right to sign that bill. He is the president of the United States and he was supposed to do that. We don't have enough people to represent us because we're not voting like we should. And when someone tells you that voting doesn't matter, this is what you get. When someone tells you that voting doesn't matter, guess what, folks? You're silencing yourself and your people.
She's absolutely correct. That's why I get so irritated when people go, oh, well, your vote doesn't count. If your vote didn't count, let me talk to my Black and brown people real quick. If your vote didn't count, they wouldn't continuously jump through hoops to make it more difficult for you to vote. If your voice wasn't powerful, they wouldn't keep trying to figure out ways to make the tape decorative before they put it across your mouth. It does matter. Why do you think they spend millions on campaign funds? They want the uneducated that are going to vote against the best interest of them and vote in the best interest of the top 1%. Nothing is going to trickle down to you. These are not your buddies. They are not to be worshipped or idealized. They are public servants. They work for you. If y'all can go in to Macy's or Sears or any of these other stores and treat the cashiers as if they work for you, keep that same energy when dealing with the people that you're voting in. But first, make sure you vote them in. Vote them in or vote them out. Let's go.
I met another man. He's bald. He's cute. I'm still ugly. He's not really of a hugger. I hugged him anyway. And he pushed me. Really strong. He pushed me like this.
Okay, I thought y'all was about to be serious all night. Oh, okay. I see y'all. I see. Lord have mercy. Okay. Okay, let's get these last two out the way.
I like my girls how I like my coffee. This is T.
Okay, it took me a little minute to catch. Okay. I was getting ready to be offended, and I was getting ready to tussle. Also this week, for the Camp Taz blog, there's a second blog up. The link is in the bio. It's under Camp Taz. Go ahead and check that out. I'm going to do my best to try to give you all 2 entries a week. We'll see. I can promise you one, but we'll see. And our final video for the night. What? Why is there a disco ball in the bathroom? I mean, I'm not opposed to it. But why is there... I am confusion. I have all of the questions. Mainly, would I be able to pull that off in my bathroom here? I don't know. But and the dancing queen in the urinal? Don't say by far that's one of the cleanest public bathrooms I've ever seen. But okay. Thank you all for joining me for tonight's episode. Be sure to join us tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Are You Afraid of the Dark viewing party. We are in season 5. And we'll be starting with episode 3. Episode 3. So, as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. And make sure you check out the merch store. Till next time.